On this episode of the Car Truth Report, we look back at a dear departed friend, the Chevrolet SS. I'm your host, Noor Lahi. Thank you for joining us. Fans of rear-wheel drive sedans and three-pedal enthusiasts alike felt a personal loss recently as GM discontinued Australian Holden production and, by extension, the much-beloved but little-purchased Chevy SS. The first point we at the report would like to make is that a rear-wheel drive family sedan with a V8 and a stick feels like the most American thing since Budweiser and pork rinds. That kind of flows with the Chevy SS, an unapologetically Australian car. After all, Budweiser is now owned by the Belgians, and pork rinds are far more popular in Mexico. Here's a quick history lesson about the lineage of the Chevrolet SS to help those of you who weren't aware of why these cars are so beloved. The true grandfather of the current Chevy SS is a car called the BMW E39 M5, one of the most adored things that come out of Germany since the Dachshund. The Holden Commodore was designed with the M5 as a benchmark, much like how Cadillac used the BMW 3 Series to benchmark their new CTS and ATS lines. At this point, it was still just a beautiful German-Australian affair. That was until America got in on the love with the G8 shortly before GM was forced to kill off Pontiac. We had to wait until 2014 when Chevrolet released their new SS, which was a bit confusing to some because Chevrolet uses SS on like 50 of their other cars to designate a performance model. It should also be noted that when the G8 came out in 2008, it had a sticker price of about $30,000 for the V8 model, and when the Chevy SS was released, it cost north of $48,000. In much the same way the Chevy SS was campaigned heavily in NASCAR, the Holden Commodore features prominently in Australia's version of stock car racing, the V8 Supercar Series. There are a few differences in the series. Notably, the Aussies keep their stock cars much more stock than we do and race on tracks that go up, down, and right, as opposed to our unbelievably fast ovals. Here's America's favorite racing uncle, Darrell Waltrip, noting some of the differences here. Yup, that man used to routinely go 190 miles per hour inches from the wall at Talladega. That was the crucible from which the Holden Commodore, and by extension the Chevy SS, was cast. So how did a German-American-Australian three-way leave us somehow unsatisfied? The truth about the Chevrolet SS is that racing cred alone isn't enough to turn a blue singleted bogan into an all-American heartthrob. You see, the Australian version of the LS engine is called the LX, and it has a few noteworthy differences from its American cousin, the most important of which is cylinder deactivation and the different product codes that make getting parts at your local Napa an exercise in frustration. There is also the small matter of styling. You see, the SS was always meant to be a sleeper. This is one of the few places GM excelled in realizing its goals with the departed Chevy muscle car. They did such a good job that looking at the car for too long is guaranteed to put you to sleep or make you think it is at least a rental fleet Malibu. Despite the exterior refresh, the SS still had arguably the least exciting styling in the entire General Motors lineup. Many think the Malibu and Impala look better, and that literally hurts my cartoon mouth to say. Couple that with the SS starting price above $48,000 ensured that it was never going to be long for this world. Despite the Chevy SS's pitfalls, it still begs the question of whether or not Americans actually want rear-wheel drive cars anymore. Matthew McConaughey doesn't think so, but nobody's asking him or Lincoln. The Europeans certainly do, however. BMW and Mercedes continue to kick domestic backside with their longitudinal engine entries. FCA's Alfa Romeo Giulia is universally lauded and even comes with 3 pedals overseas. Heck, even Cadillac is turning its back on front-wheel drive sedans. So how could the Chevy SS and by extension the mid-price stick-shift family car have been saved? Well, it wouldn't have been very easy. You see, Australia royally botched their automotive industry. When the decision was made by GM to discontinue Holden production in Oz, the average lineman was bringing home $80,000 per year. The cars were expensive even in Australia, and the added cost of transport and homologation to American DOT regulations meant the price would only ever get so low. GM, of course, knew this. That's why you didn't see any clever Chevy SS commercials during the Super Bowl. Heck, I can't even remember seeing a single ad for the car on television. It was like Mary Barra knew that GM had to shed the dead weight of homegrown Holden production and did everything in her power to let the Australian auto industry die on the vine. So there you have it. A lack of advertising, high sticker price, overly reserved styling, and a rarity of parts all swirled together to make for the perfect storm that was always going to sink the great white hope of four-door tire smoke. Will we ever see another unicorn like the Chevrolet SS again? Sadly, the report doesn't think it is very likely at all. I suppose all we can do is get back in our front-wheel drive econo boxes and try our best to move along. Thank you so much for joining us for the 5th episode of the Car Truth Report. We want to hear from you. Will there be another rear-wheel drive stick-shift family sedan sold in the American market? Why didn't GM sell the Ute here in the States? Does Darrell Waltrip still get nightmares from that lap around Mount Panorama? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notify bell, and send us money so I can afford to put gas in my rear-wheel drive American stick shift sedan one last time. The Car Truth Report has been brought to you by About 5 Beers, giving me a little more courage since 1997.